What's up, guys? This is Mark, and welcome to your July devlog for Century of Steam. We sincerely appreciate your guys' patience on bearing with us, as it's obviously mid-August at this point, but there's a lot to go on in this episode that we're really excited to show you. First and foremost, I've got a train of some loads to go supply some of the camps and the log landings here on Ponderosa, and I've got some empties that we need to go take up the hill and get filled up. But we got the first tank coming here. But we're okay on water, so we'll just blow right past it. Lots of new fun things have been in progress these past weeks here. Like a certain quite large Rio Grande prototype water tank got modeled and implemented entirely. Certainly cool to see. And of course, a ton more work on Ponderosa. But we're going to be taking this train up, and we're going to get things done here. This poor little 818C that we have, number 5, she's a little tired. Lots of packing leaks, air reservoir leaks a fair bit. She's put in her service on the railroad, but she ought to be up to the task, so we're going to keep her going here. Get onto the bridge here. You can see some more of the work done to the Ponderosa level itself, and yeah, we've got some places to be, folks. It's going to be fun. Although we're coming up to our station stop, and I want to try and make this somewhat expedient, so we're gonna cut out some air, do some silly things here, and get our first load dropped off. All right. Just gotta wait for the right time. All right, we're gonna leave that all released and running for now. Let's see if I can't see where we're going here. We're coming up to the siding here at Martis Camp, and we gotta drop that boxcar. And we're gonna have to talk about that other thing over there pretty shortly here too. But I think it's time for some Dutch drop action to get us started here. So I'm gonna pull the pin here and let that pop. You can hear how quickly the engine starts to work pretty quick here. Arrived at Martis Camp. Okay, that should be enough to get us past. Let's jump off by the switch. Get it lined. Get it relined. Start setting up the air on the 818C. And when we get this thing close, there we go. If I can click on stuff, maybe. They could deal with that, right? Close enough. It's always within a margin of error here, and we'll try to not clobber our own train too hard here. Make sure we got our knuckles open. And this guy stopped, so we'll get everything lapped up and set to run. But goodness, it's kind of neat, the atmosphere around here. We're going to have to talk about that a little bit too in this vlog. All right, knuckles are open. Let's see if we can make this hook here, and then we'll be ready to continue on with our 818C, but not before we go unload that boxcar. So there we go. Okay, get everything stopped. So we've been working on all things industries here, and we've got a very preliminary look at some of the stuff. So you can see at the top of the screen, as we come in, we're at the Martis Camp Cookhouse. There's a number of different places that will need to be supplied at various industries, and different loads will come from different positions on those industries. And when you are in one of those zones, you can press R and bring up a menu to transact with the cars, and this is all very temporary. There'll be more details to come specifically on industry side of things, because the primary work that we did this go around was about that thing over there. But we'll get to him in a minute. But we click that. And we just made some dollars, ladies and gents. We have delivered a cargo. There is now some game to go with our train, and we absolutely love that. And of course, more to come on that in the very near future here. But we're going to try and get the rest of this train moving. I know there's lots of cool stuff to look at here, but it's a pretty stiff grade up to the top camps up there, the log landings. We got Shafer landing and Sawtooth landing, and it's going to be a fight to get up there, so I want to try and get that done here first thing. So let me hop back in the seat here and let's whistle off. Okay, that's all good. Let's start giving it a little throttle here. What are you doing? Were you being cute? Just being a little cute. Huh. Anyway, one thing you might hear and might notice about the Chuff, specifically this engine, I mean, and the packing and the everything else, is that she's a little on the tired side, and so she's a little out of time, a little out of power, but that's okay. I think we can still make the hill. So we're just gonna give it all the power we can get and see if we can make it. You got this, little girl. She's the queen of high speed across the flat. It's gonna be tough to negotiate this grade, but I've got some confidence here. You can kind of already see the grade going up right as we come around the other side of camp. Yeah, it's a good 4% through here. Oh god, it's already bogging. Come on, sweetheart, you can do it. Oh, come on, please. Oh, don't stall out on me, sweetheart. Oh. Okay. Well, let's not kill our wheels to death. And I guess we'll let her roll back down into town here. Yeah. There was a couple other train things that happened during these couple months there, so that was a little smidge of a hint at wheel slip sim. There's still a little bit more to do on that space too, but it's based on everything the steam chest does, and it's based on what the track does, so if you're in dry conditions like we are, you've got good friction, unless you've got quite a bit of curvature or vertical curvature in your track, in which case you may not have some of that. So, yeah, your locomotive is looking for all that sort of stuff, and if it's got the grip it needs, it'll keep putting the power down, but if you're a little mean to the locomotive, if the track's not in a great setup for you, you may or may not have the wheels start to spin on you. We're gonna have to bring this thing back into town, and I guess, yeah, we'll have to use that big honking thing over there to get the rest of the way up. Let's make sure we're lined into the siding here, he said, as we blow right through the switch. That's fine. We can, we'll just spot the train on the main, and then the Shay can run around us. That's fine. That's fine. We're gonna do a little overview of the Shay here next, but before we get to the Shay, definitely want you guys to see some of the other little things that are fun little details that adding a new locomotive added. Because it's not just modeling the engine and getting it in and textured and implemented and everything that adds the little fun. All of the nuanced railroad things the locomotives do tend to add a fair bit of everything else. So listen to these brake sounds and look at this brake stand on the 818C. This is a G6 automatic in the A1 schedule. And you can also see that very conveniently they've placed the air compressor right where it's right in front of you. But one little fun nuanced detail that was one that was bugging me that wasn't there was that just disappeared. Air compressor governor, that fancy brass thing. That's what tells the pump to run. And when it's happy and you've got enough brake pressure, it spits out the extra steam, and that's that. And so now you've got a visual indication of whether or not you're making your main reservoir pressure, or if the pump's working on doing everything else, which is one of the details you notice when you're on the engine. So wanted to make sure it was there. But those brake sounds and brake stand things are very different from the brake stand in the Shay. Now, we do need to get our locomotive swapped over, but while we're thinking about brake stand comparisons, we'll just go hop in and take a quick look at that, and then we'll do the overview of this amazing model of a West Side Shay, specifically the 15 and its sister locomotive, the 14, the 60-ton Shay, made by Daniel Gallery, and we'll be doing a feature later this month specifically about the Shay and its customizations and all that fun stuff, as you would expect us to do. But we really wanted to show you guys some cool gameplay things and a little bit of train action, so that's why we're not focusing on that this time. So you can see we have a taller automatic brake valve. This is an H6 of the 6ET brake schedule, and right next to it is the S6 independent brake. We finally have something with an independent brake, just bog standard. Some of the early locomotives, it was not common for them to get that because of the way they were upgraded and the services they kept. So we have something with an independent brake, and I know that I've been very excited for that because you can immediately put the train and stop it where you want it quite easily without as much anticipation, because this thing's quite powerful. But it also ties in a lot to what the automatic does, and it's more sounds and sim as well. So you'll note that the brake sounds are different than the other brake stand, and we have a new position. I overviewed the positions of the G6 automatic and A1 previously in our first air brake video. The H6 adds one position, which is engine hold, which means that unless you're going all the way over to bail on your independent will hold whatever you have. So you can bail it and it'll release, but any other position, if you're in hold, it will release the train but keep the independent set, which can be really useful in applications when you need to get back into an air set, perhaps on a steep grade, which might become important in the future of this episode. As we have some brake cylinder pressure here, and if I have the independent in release and I bring our automatic over to release, run, it will release the independent brake pressure. So it's a fun little nuanced thing. The only other big difference between this and the other valves, other than the sounds and the interrelation of the independent brake, is that it applies a fair bit faster. More modern brake schedule. This is probably the most common brake schedule on more modern steam locomotives, which is pretty cool. And the other little neat feature is one of the quirks of the system is that if you go to engine hold and you cycle the brake and leave the brake in lap or slow application and bring the automatic back over, it does a little chirp. And this is one of the little things you pick up when you are actually in the cab of a locomotive, is some of the dumb sounds it makes. You can sit here and make it do a dance beat, which when we get some more keyboard controls is going to be a lot easier. But for now, you've got to bounce the valves around by hand with the mouse, which I'm sure I'll get better at with time, but more to come on keyboard interaction things down the road, of course, because specifically now that we've noticed we have an independent, the ability to hold it bailed with a key would be really, really nice. Well, all that said on brake schedule things, we need to swap our locomotives out, so let's get the 818C put away, and we'll bring the Shay over and go from there. Okay, I got the 818C tucked next to our little way car right there, and figured we'd take a quick walk around of the Shay, look at all of the beautiful work that was done to make this thing happen. They're beautifully complex, really neat machines, and obviously those of you who may watch a tangentially related YouTube channel, I think it rhymes with mice or something. There's always the running joke that I hate Shays personally, and mechanically the amount of vibration and sadness and things that break and all that stuff when you're actually running a real one is pretty significant, though they are fascinating machines and extremely good at what they are going to do, which we're going to be doing very shortly here. But working on this and doing the work to get this thing in the game, and seeing the love and care that Daniel put into modeling it and all the details that went into it, I am kind of falling in love with them. So I'm growing as a person. So anyway. But yes, this is the Westside Lumber Company number 15. The Ponderosa Lumber Company's got it on loan. And she's a big 60-ton Shay, oil-burning locomotive. And we've got a lot of fun little neat things that we've never had before. The independent brake, the cross-compound air compressor that exhausts just out to atmosphere, so it hisses more so than goes boom, boom. All kinds of fun, nuanced details that I hope that you've come to expect from us. But we're going to get this thing moving a little bit here and go get it on the train. And that, of course, is the Lima Shay Division 5, which only appropriate. Okay. Go get the cylinder cocks closed. And just looking at the majesty of all of that motion is just supreme. Alright, we're lined all the way out, so we'll get the Shay to run past the switch here. And we'll go from there. For those not familiar, the Shay is a geared locomotive, so it's a 3-cylinder locomotive, and the 3 cylinders operate that drive shaft that is running along just the one side. And that's part of the reason why, mechanically, as a mechanical engineer, I always went about them, because all of the weight of the whole boiler and everything is over here, and all of the dynamic mass is over here, which leads to things being a little unbalanced, as you'll see. That said, it means that you've got a very, very powerful locomotive in a relatively small package, although it does make the 818C look quite small, because it's a tall, big choo-choo. 60 tons locomotive, and it's a 3-truck Shay, so we've got the tender truck and then the 2 powered trucks on the locomotive itself, with the expansion sliding joints, the U-joints, the whole 9 yards in between them. And being a 3-cylindered engine, it's got that distinctive triple beat exhaust, which was a ton of fun to model and learn about. There's a lot of interesting nuances with it, and the way that it rhythmically sounds that we'll get into a little bit once we get underway here. But I want to get past this switch, and then we'll go bump into those other cars here. As we're getting past the switch, you can see all of these different logging structures, buildings. We've seen the ice house before, but we haven't seen a spar pole, which is basically a crane made out of a tree, which was something that logging companies did. And we haven't really talked about the setup of industries and all those sorts of things. This industry, this is Martis Camp, and there's 2 more log landings where the loggings happen. We're going to load logs, but our historians will, I'm sure, have more to say about these things in the future, but the setup and the feel of the industry is really important. So we went through the trouble to go through and model these different structures: the mess hall, the cookhouse, the different buildings for all of the folks who would work at the logging camps. The steam donkeys were custom modeled for the game, and it's really important to show the whole facet of it, because the railroad's not just about the trains, it's about everything it interacts with and connects to. So we wanted to make sure that all of that was there and was thematically appropriate, so that you could really experience what a logging railroad and every other narrow gauge railroad that we possibly can try and model might look like. Okay, so we've coupled in. That's great. Got the air tied in, the pump's working, and we'll know that it's made up its main res when the pump governor kicks on. There it is. Okay, so theoretically we've got air all the way at the back, though we have a caboose on the back, and there's a couple really easy ways to check. So we can just wander back here and pop open the door, hop up in the cupola, and the brake pipe's actually overcharged. We got more than 100 on the gauge here, so let's just dump that, and it'll react accordingly. And then when we see it get down low enough down here, we'll lap it, and then put it back in hold, then run to get everything back up, and we've got 70 on the rear. Okay, so we've got brake pipe pressure established all the way through, which gives a fun feature to the Caboose, and we're going to be playing with a little bit more of that too, because we also modeled the dump valves on the Caboose for this episode, so you can sit there and apply the brakes from the rear from several different locations, particularly one with a vantage point. So it gives the Caboose a place on the railroad, and when multiplayer things get rolling, it's going to give a place for your brakemen and conductors to have more than a use than just sit and watch the scenery. So anyway, let's go head up the hill, shall we? Okay, get this thing over into reverse, start giving it a little steam. We give it a little drains because we've been sitting for just a minute. And you can really sit in here and listen to that triple cylinder exhaust just as it creeps along at low speed. Alright, get her hooked up a little bit. You gotta remember that when you're running a Shay, it's like a normal steam locomotive in terms of controls, but your steam engine is running at over double the speed of the rest of the wheels, so yeah, your top speed is limited, your power is almost unlimited. It's huge, but you need to be easier on the engine, otherwise you might break things and then you end up with a sad choo-choo like the poor 818C that we were running earlier. Thing rolling. I want to do a running brake test to make sure that we got everything working. Take a 10-pound set, lap it, release the automatic, and I'm going to give her a little whistle, let my brakemen and all them know, and I'm going to have to pull through it harder because we're getting on the hill while we're doing a brake test. We would just need them for securement. I don't know why we're testing them on the way down, but if I press 7, I can just warp to my Caboose, and I can see, yeah, we definitely took a 10-pound reduction, at least, on that on the train, so we'll give it a release. We know that we've got brakes, and that means that if we were to lose anything on the hill here, we'd be able to go get it, so... This thing is so cool, guys. I hope you're liking it as much as I am. Alright, yeah, look at all that stuff. Now that we're on a straight, everything's straightened out, and you can watch the U-joints do the madness as we get further along. And we're already past where the 818C stalled out, and it's looking good. And perhaps the eagle-eyed of you viewers may have also noticed the vibrational dance that the choo-choo do. It's just one of those neat things when you're seeing an engine really work, and particularly one with a weird balance like this mechanically. They do a dance. And so as you're in the cab of the Shay, you can see how much it's hunting around and waddling around the track as it's putting down the power, which the 818C was doing a little bit of as well, but it was a little bit more nuanced on a rod engine than a geared engine. As we're blitzing around the corner here, we're almost to the first landing. Shafer landing is coming up. So we'll have made it up the easy hill, and you can see just up the hill from us, there's going to be a whole nother situation for us to start to conquer there. Yeah, and we came from way down the valley that way with the 818C to start the episode. It's been fantastic to see all the progress on the map, and then this pre-laid route. It's really, really genuinely been a treat, because it, obviously we had to test things and have a little test level and everything, and that's what we've largely shown before, but now it really feels like we're going somewhere. And getting to conquer it and seeing these switchbacks and everything and watching a Shay do the dance is pretty cool. You can hear the weird beats of the exhaust as it starts to subdivide on itself as it goes faster and slower. The interesting nuanced thing there. Oh, hang on, we're at yard limits. We're stopping here. The interesting nuanced thing about a Shay is that the size of the piston is very relative to the size of the piston rod, which means that you get this weird da-dump, 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 da-dump in the exhaust beats, which gives them a very particular sound, and it's pretty cool, and it was a fun challenge to model, because the volume on both sides of the piston is kind of significantly different. All right, well, we're going to line ourselves in here. We're here at Shafer's Landing, and we've got a spot to load, unload things here. We've got the spar poles. You can see how much logging's been done up here at this specific landing here. But we're going to go and we're going to pick up things, and we have the things to unload need to go up to Sawtooth Landing up at the top. So we're going to have to run again a little bit further, but we got to pick up these cars here first. So so we'll line ourselves into this this track here. We'll run around, drop the train off, grab our caboose off the other end, and then grab those cars and add them to the whole mess. Yeah, the Shay is the Shay has torque for days, but not a ton of speed. The top speed on this particular Shay, based on the way that the gear ratios and everything work out, vaguely 15 mile an hour. Obviously, it depends on track condition and how you're operating, and don't run through the switch mark. Obviously, all those things depend and vary a little bit, but yeah, about 15. And when it's doing about 15 miles an hour, I mean, it's really going crazy to do that. The engine's running at about 500 or 600 RPM, if I'm remembering right. So let's get all that air released, pop off the hoses there. You can see the couple donkeys idling away, waiting for work. All the several different spar poles, all of which you could load from, so several different loading locations. And we'll show some more industry things when we get up top, of course, but we've got some switching to do. So we're gonna run around this train here. And let's see, what's the order that makes the most sense? We'll run all the way around, grab the caboose, just toss it out of the way, I guess. And then go pick up all those empties. Yeah, 6 empties there. So yeah, we'll have 9 cars to load up. So let's go grab the caboose. Let's see how fast we can get this Shay to go. It really is just a tornado of sounds. And it rolls past. Give it a little slow application on the independent. Get it to stop. And we'll bring it back. All right. Come on here. Bring it on back. We also put some helpful camera locations on the Shay, so you can kind of see what's going while it's still in the locomotive here. Grab the caboose. Make sure our knuckle is for sure open. Yep. Go make sure the one on the caboose is. Just in case, you never know. Sometimes these couplers want to misbehave a little bit. And let's try not to punt it into orbit, shall we? Alright. Nice and easy. Bang. Well, I don't know if that was nice and easy, but it wasn't the worst couple that this caboose has ever experienced, I'm sure. Alright, we'll cut out the air there. We'll let that dump so that it's ready to recharge. If I can pull the cut lever. Life's hard sometimes. Okay. Then, yeah, I guess we'll set the caboose on that track. Grab the empties, set them on top. And then bring the whole mess out. Although, hang on, the caboose... We have to grab the whole train with it. It's whatever. It's fine. So many options. I'm sitting over here going, do I put it on that track or that track? And is the time difference going to make a difference? Probably not. It's fine. Bring it back. Let's make sure the air's not doing anything too crazy on this guy. Yep, it's all good. So what we can do is we can bottle it and kick it. If I can get there, it's dangerous. Oh, it's already bottled. That's great. Love that. Kicking. Okay, let the caboose go rolling. And hopefully it keeps getting out of our way. Reline the switch for the empties. Probably anywhere in there is pretty good on the caboose, so we'll tie it down real quick. Kick the door open for early access. It's a smidge cold out in Ponderosa today, as you can see by all the steam effects, but that's not too terribly bad. Sneaking in for the hook here. Let's try and be somewhat gentle. That wasn't so bad. Tie the air in. All right. Let's get all the air laced up here while we're here. And as you can recall, we shift-click the hoses and it just opens up everything and gets it ready to rock, which we love. Saves a little time. Get all that put together. You can hear the pump start to kick into life as the main res has to charge up the rest of the cars. All right, bringing them ahead. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead past that switch, bring it back over here, get on these cars, pick up this whole string, and then we'll go bang into the caboose and be on our way up the big steep hill. Yeah, Wings and Strings has placed a delightful alignment for us to try and tackle with this beast today, and I'm quite thrilled by it. So. If I'm honest, I'm more scared to come down than to go up it. I think we'll have no problems going up, but going down might be a challenge. Almost there. Let's set up some air. Let's try and stop smoothly for once in our lives here. And there we go. Just give it a little slow app on the independent. Not too violent. Okay. Give it all a release and bring it back. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure his knuckles are all open. We'll bang into these. I already grabbed the handbrake that was on the flat car that's got the donkey on it, which is such a fun load. Custom made by Wings and Strings, of course. Oh, I overcharged the brake pipe. I was like wondering if we might be pushing against some brakes. No, I don't hear anything. But we'll want to make sure that we reset the air and do an air test before we head up the big one. We will take a set on the train. Try and bring it in. Chef's kiss. Nice and easy. Tie in the air there. Make sure we get that angle cock actually opened. And then make sure we're not venting to atmosphere at the back. Probably worth a check. Okay, good. So we should have that all set up. Yeah, typically to clear an overcharge condition, you need to go for a 20-pound set, but you know, when your ears are not actually right next to the real brake valve, it's just easier to give it an emergency application and go from there. Wake the whole thing up. Okay. Nice and gentle. Gently. Alright, we gotta get this whole mess, this whole shooting match past this switch. And we need to go up the other tail of the switchback, so I suppose I should probably line that while I'm thinking about it. And we'll get all these cars past, bring it to a nice stop, go get our caboose, and head the rest of the way up the hill here. Take another little set. 5 pounds-ish. Let the train bog me down. More or less. Bring the independent in at the very last second. Fantastic. Do a little running release. And bring him back. This knuckle's closed. Let's make sure he's open and happy. And then we gotta realign this switch. And go bang into the caboose here. After we grab the caboose, it's on to the next landing. Alright, here comes the hook. Not too violently, please. Ouch. It's fine. Didn't like that caboose anyway. Alright, tie that in. Air's tied in. What do we show on the rear gauge here? Just up here. We show 70 pounds on the rear. Alright. Means that pressure's been restored to the rear, and we're ready to rock and roll. Alright. Let's give it a little go. Look down the couple falls there, and you can see where we came in on our way to Martis Camp. And we've got some elevation to gain here, so I get it working pretty good because I want to still do a quick running brake test. Making sure we're getting that set. Yep, we're getting that set at the back. And do we get a release? We do. Alright. That means we've got air flowing all the way through the train and we can make the climb here. Even with the Shay, this alignment's pretty tough. These curves are something else. And yeah, the U-joints get a little crazy to handle those. Let's see if we can coax a little more speed out of this thing. I don't have it wide open quite yet. Try not to beat the absolute heck out of it, but we also got places to be. And down there's Martis Camp. We've gained a fair bit of elevation in a fairly short time. Some of this alignment gets up to 10%, so it's pretty stout. All right, throttle's wide open. I'm gonna try and keep the bar out of the corner if I can help it. It's even a fair amount of speed there. Not quite on the worst of the steep, crooked madness yet. Jump and fly cam this thing over here as we approach another big waterfall. I think that's the really steep section up through there, so we're almost there. It's the little things like the pump governor and everything. There's lots of little steam leaks on a locomotive that are important leaks. They're designed leaks. Yeah, this is the tough section here. Right as we're coming above, further down the valley from Martis Camp. There's the waterfall over there. And the last landing is just up the rails here, just not another half mile, if that. Come on. What do you got, Shay? It's got a lot. It's a big, beefy engine. And my goodness, I've even forgot to say that while we're dominating this hill with the Shay, these are also new cars, new things. These are the Seattle Car and Foundry, later Pacific Car and Foundry flat cars. They're the biggest flat cars in the game so far. I think they're 36 footers. They're pretty sizable, so you can haul some serious logs on those. And the fun little details on them are quite the treat. Back up here, this is, we got off the steep part of the grade, and she started to really pick up some speed there. And these curves are still quite sharp, so we don't want to get too crazy. Alright. last couple S-bends to go. We've come such a long way. In such a small space, too. I mean, that's the beauty of Ponderosa, is we've really designed it in mind for geared engines and geared steam like the Shay, so that you can really put them to the test and have a good, fun play session without spending all day getting across a gigantic space, because, I mean, yeah, 15 mile an hour is about top speed. God, you can see the track just about level off. We're almost there. Almost there. All right, there's the final bridge where it levels out, and we're gonna have to do some switching, so we're gonna have to think about that here. So we'll hook it up a little bit, call for our station stop. You know you're doing it right when you're working the engine so hard that the whistle is hard to hear. I can't totally give up on it. There's still a lot of cars on the grade here. All right, let's think about our switching puzzle here that we've got up here at Sawtooth Landing, because we've got some loads to drop off for supplies for the camp. We've got the empties to load, and we're gonna want to see how we do that. So let's bring it up to a nice, easy stop here. Start taking a set on the air. Okay. I'm gonna stop in advance of the final throat switch here. So I guess we can do that from in here and really just walk right up to it. It's hard to get to the independent brake when the throttle's wide open. Alright, that'll be good enough. Give it a stop, and the cacophony has ended for a brief section here. Fun piece of trivia for you steam engineers out there. Engine hold does hold the engine, but if you don't have it in slow application or quick application, and note that quick app and quick release are sprung back. If you don't have it in one of those positions, it will not pressure maintain. So it's technically best practice to release the automatic to run, and then just let the independent feed valve take care of it. Anyway, so let's take a look-see here. We've got a runaround track, we've got the Y, and then we've got several different spar poles, and we've got our team track here. So the team track is right here. This is where our donkey needs to go, get unloaded. They requested another one. And as well, the tank cars need to go over to those tanks. This spar pole's got the longest loading area, so we probably load the whole train at once if we go there. Save us a little time there, keep us focused on the trains. And that one's a little shorter, and it's close to the end of the runaround. So yeah, we'll let's pull into the runaround and go go run around the train and see what shenanigans we can get into. So we're almost lined into the runaround now. Okay, well, let's see what silliness we can get into here. Too mean to the Shay. And yeah, so all of our logs are there. So if we run around, wire engine, so we're ready to go downhill, we can just we can kind of just kick them all in. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds silly. Why not? God, it is just a tornado of noise, isn't it? Okay, get the other runaround switch lined. Are we almost clear at the back? Runaround's just barely big enough. It looks like it's clear back there, so we'll let her be there. Okay. And we'll leave it bottled because, well, we just left it applied. So we won't leave it bottled. We will release it first. And now we'll bottle the air because I think we're going to run around this whole mess. And then we're going to kick the logs, log cars, flat cars, to the spar pole. And then we'll kick our loads to the team track. And that'll be the easiest little setup here. So let's get out of the way here, shall we? Oh, I had tension on the knuckle. What else is new? There we go. Okay, run past this, and run around and Y the Shay, and then we'll think about doing some kicking. It is so fantastic to have something with an independent brake. Makes it really easy to do light engine things with some expediency. Let's go get the switches lined. Here's the other switch on the Y. Is it set for us? No, it's not. Now it is. Alright, let's bring the Shay around the Y. That's such a cool looking engine, isn't it? And watching the trucks articulate and seeing it's a Class C Shay being 3 truck. It's just so fantastic. Get it past the switch, give it just a little independent brake. Independents are all about feathering on and off. So even as light engines, sometimes they can be a little much. And now we'll bring it ahead around the rest of the Y. Grab the train out from there and go see about kicking it in there. I need to stash the caboose somewhere too. I don't know if I'm hip enough to get 3 things kicked all at once. Not when there's a pretty stiff grade that way. Well, I don't know. We might make it to the bridge first. Why not? We could try it. Why not? Let's get a little silly. Shay's coming around the Y, and you can get another great look at Sawtooth Camp here. The industry stuff has been a long time coming. We've always said that we've got most of the train stuff done, and I even erroneously said once that all the train stuff was done. And then, of course, you remember all the other little things, and you realize how complex some of these systems are. And yeah, always another thing, but a lot of the focus has shifted towards industry-type things and gameplay-type things. I mean, we delivered a load earlier, and we're about to deliver yet another here. So it's pretty fantastic to be able to move things around and go, okay, well, the UI's not quite there yet. It's a first pass, and it's not robustly set up, and we don't have the whole system of interactions and every single industry and all that sorted out yet. But getting the first looks at it, we hope you guys appreciate, because we were sitting here internally playing this build once we got it all set up, and it was just like, wow, this actually feels really cool. Feels really good. This is really exciting. So I left this released, right? I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, it's got 70 on the gauge. That's great. Okay, so now we can pull that whole mess out, clear the switch, and we'll see if we can kick all 3 sets of cars into their 3 respective tracks. Because I got to ditch the caboose so it can end up on the other end. We got to put the 2 tanks up by those 2 tanks. And then we got to get the donkey spotted at the team track. So which one do we need lined first? I guess the spar pole track is the first track. So I guess we'll start working on cutting some air out between these cars so that we can individually bottle them and let them roll to their destination and pray that we don't leave anything in the dirt. Because Lord knows that would be typical of me. Alright. Cut that out. Cut that out. Okay, all the air is cut out now. So now we just need enough space to do some kicking. And, yeah, I don't think that the Caboose is going to fit in the clear past this with the donkey spotted, so we'll kick the Caboose onto this track. We'll kick all the flats, the SCF flats, onto the spar pole track, and then we'll kick the other 2 here. The volcanic exhaust out of this thing. Always entertaining, just because it's got so many exhaust beats. I mean, the Shay doing 15 miles an hour is basically equivalent to Mallard, the world record holder steam locomotive. It's basically equivalent to that doing its world record speed in terms of number of cycles on the engine. And they're and that's also, they're both 3-cylinder engines, so it's fun. All right, well, let's make the first cut, and then I have no idea how this is gonna go. Okay, let's see if that'll behave here. Oh, technically we're going reverse, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. Pins pulled, so it's not gonna try and do anything too silly. Let's give it some speed. Get some separation, make the hose do the, and now we'll go for the next one here. And hopefully those speeds are not both hilariously incorrect. And then I guess we could ditch the Caboose just on the main. Yeah, we don't even have to put it... Well, I guess it would be... I guess it doesn't really matter, because, yeah, you'd just be moving back off the switch. Alright. Let's try that while we're kicking everything else. And we've got a second before we need to throw this switch. Yeah, because the spar pole cars got to get past that. Oh, I don't know if they're going to make it past that. That's what happens when you kick plain bearing cars and it's not super hot out. Well, at least we'll ditch the Caboose. How about that? Go away. It would help if I pulled the cut lever. Do you have a handbrake set? Do you have air set? It must have more in its reservoir. Wow, this kick really just failed entirely. Well, that's what happens when you try to do too many things at once, I guess. It's probably from when I overcharged the train. Well, we'll just set the Caboose over here. And then go hop back on those other cars. And then we'll make sure we do a really good air test before we go down, because we're going to have loads, and it's loads downhill down to 10%, which has never caused a problem in logging railway industry or narrow gauge railway industry ever, I don't think, in the history of any of that. If I was a betting man. Let's make sure all these knuckles are ready and happy. Okay. Come on, you. I don't necessarily need to couple in, I just kind of got to hit him. I'm sure that the customer that ordered this beautiful donkey doesn't mind if it, you know, shifts and brakes on the car, right? Bang. There we go. Well, I guess we'll just couple in anyway. Come on, more speed, more speed, more speed. There we go. Get out the way, squeaky bearings. And then we'll get these guys spotted up. Okay. We need to bring up the tanks almost all the way to the back end of track here, so they can get dealt with there. Let's try not to run off the end of track all the way. And then we'll go unload the donkey, make a little cache, and go get some loads figured out. Alright, well, I guess I could just dump those. Those don't matter. This one does, this instant. And we'll even be a good kid and tie a brake on it. Okay. Let's get this respotted here. Bring it up to the team track, and again, when we're in the zone there that pops up at the top, Sawtooth landing team track, that's perfect. So we've got my air cut out already there. This had no air on it apparently. And we'll tie it down, we'll break the Shay off, and while the Shay's running over to the next little spot here, we'll get this guy unloaded. So I press R and I press transact. And you love to see it. Making money for the railroad here. Okay. So got that spotted, and now we will go and get these guys loaded up. No, don't double click the switch. Ah! It's fine. Shay is really a torquey beast. You gotta be careful with it. Oh, he says, hitting the cars at quite some speed. It's fine. You should be careful with it. I can do whatever I want, right? Is that how that works? Anyway, tied in the air on these guys. And we'll be sure to dump them and get them all sorted out here. And we're coming into Sawtooth Landing, the spar pole, this guy. Whole crane setup. And we'll bring it in for a nice easy stop here. Okay, that's all set up. And press R, transact, and we'll start getting a little dunk as we get our logs loaded up on the cars here. All right, train's loaded. Let's rock and roll. We gotta go get our caboose and get out of here. And as I said, yeah, we're gonna want to make sure we do a really, really good air test. Because, not because you are physically required to in-game, just because I'm physically worried about my ability to make sure that I've connected all the things properly. And it's a 10% grade, and I'd rather not fling the Shay off of a 50-degree curve. All right. Getting it brought over here, and then we'll back onto the caboose. Make sure everything's laced up, got air to the rear, do a little test. We'll do a running test as soon as we head down the hill. And then we'll take the logs down back to the 818C so it can take them to the rest of Ponderosa. The Shay's a beautiful, fantastic heavy haul locomotive. Obviously not the speed queen, but the 818C pairs pretty nicely with it. They're a min-maxed kind of set, so. Let's get past the switch here. And I love those logs. So it was a fair amount of work to get everything set up. We wanted to make sure that it all looked right and felt right when you've got loads, and we think they look pretty good. We're pretty happy with that. So the representation of the industries and how they functioned is really an important piece of how the railroad tied into it. So a fair amount of our research team does a lot of work to make sure that the industries are proper too. It's not just the trains that we're trying to get details on here. So, all right, got it all stopped, mostly with the automatic here, get it released, and now we'll bring it back. Hopefully nice and easy. Come on, sweetheart. There we go. And make sure this is all opened up. 6 miles an hour is more than plenty. It's enough to KO this poor wooden caboose. Even through the cushioning of the draft gear. Got that all sorted. Let's see. Let's bring it up to a stop. Okay, air's tied in there. I'm gonna dump it first on the engine and make sure we're getting 0 back here. Okay. And then we'll bring it back up to run, and she recharges. We've got air back here. You love to see it. Okay, so that means that we have continuity in the brake pipe, and it means we're ready to go downhill. I mean, physically, we have all the requirements and the prerequisite. We have the air, we have the load. Mentally, I don't know, and especially if the wind is going to carry my exhaust directly in front of me, really? All right, let's give this thing a go. Brakes tied. Let's listen and see what we can hear. I probably have the brake on the caboose tied, the handbrake. Yes, yes I do. That's the sound. That is, that's the beauty of having the right sounds and stuff. It was like, oh, feels like something's dragging. Yes, yes, it was the caboose. Okay, now as is tradition on mountain railroad territories, we're going to do our running air test. And normally during a air test, a running air test, you do a set and the engineer blows a long whistle, and you do a release when the rear of the train is confirmed that they saw the set on the back end, and then you release it and you give them 2 whistles. When you're staring a 10% grade that looks like you're falling off of a cliff in the face, you do not release the air. You just go, okay, good. What I did up here made it back there. We're gonna run with that. So let's go to application. Let's start with about 5 pounds. Give the independent a bail. So we're stretch braking. Make sure it stays bailed. And we're just trying to sneak over this here. I know I've got the boat anchor on the grade, but I've got a lot of cars with a lot of log weight on them too. Definitely did not take just a 5-pound set somehow. That's fine. Probably hadn't let it recharge properly. go. And then by pressing 7, we can hop to the caboose. You hear the brake rigging. You see we got about a 10-pound set. So, yeah, I'm setting a little more than I'm used to, but again, I'm not actually used to the 6ET valve in the sim. And now for the fun of it, you can brake from back here as the brakeman here. There's one right here, and goodness, when you dump it, of course, that does the whole thing. But then there's also dumps on either platform, so you can kind of ride it wherever you want. But now we have to recharge the engine because I let the air entirely die, and now it's gonna be a little silly, and it's gonna want to run away on me. So let's stop that from happening, shall we? Take a good set there. Fail the engine. It's not enough. A little more. Okay. We're down like 15 pounds basically. That's a pretty meaty set, but this is a pretty meaty grade. We don't want to spaghettify the poor running gear of the Shay. It's not going to like going much faster than its actual top speed here. A little bit more air. You could also not bail the independent, but I'd like to try and keep it stretched if I can. Now let's work a little independent in. Don't go to quick app though. Just a little slow app. Just a little bit. There we go. Squeeze a good 15, 20 pounds on. You recover your speed a little bit. Yeah, this hillside does not mess around. And that's a heavy train behind us. This thing is awesome. Okay, we're gonna want a little more air. We might have gotten too much now that the grade's changed. Do I dare reset it? Okay, well, let's show the engine hold thing. Go to engine holds. You leave the engine set up a fair bit. This isn't great with passengers, but if you have a little something on the engine, it means that you're not entirely toast, and then you can let the train recharge. You hear the pump go, and we could go for another set. And we've reset it. Although we need more than that. This is what we call nervous braking. It's fine. Okay. There we go. God, we're gonna have to reset it again? Or is bailing the engine just enough? Might be just enough. Some situations you might want to pull through it. I don't think I want to pull through right now. We'll go to hold again. We'll squeeze on a little bit on the independent. Just a little bit more than that. Just enough so it tickles the gauge. Now we go for an application. Lap it. Release the independent. Give it a bail. A little more. Goodness. Yeah, this is also how you waste all your main reservoir air away. And that's how you have a runaway train, in case you were wondering, particularly in the Steam era. So, thankfully we got a nice, good, meaty cross-compound air compressor on this thing that's really putting the work in, so not struggling too bad. The red gauge is our main res gauge, so. Although if we overcharge it all the time, that is going to make it mad. Okay. Is that switch lined? Yes, it is. A little more air. I don't know what you would historically do on a switchback type railroad when you're coming into a location that is a switchback. Because technically we're running through, but we do have to stop. So, fall into the creek here. And we'll let the caboose roll by, give it a dump, and then give it a shove and see what we can do to get down the rest of the leg here and hand the train over. Keep her working a little bit. Thankfully, this next leg is not quite as harrowing as that one was. That was some pretty engaging air brake operation there. All right, give that a set. It looks like we overcharged it, so we'll just dump it and reset everything. Make sure it's happy again. Double check that we're good up front. Yep, looking cool. All right, and now it's time to go down the other side. We've made it a fair distance here on Ponderosa. Again, this is our middle landing here, and we just ran down from the Sawtooth landing, which is way up over and tucked in there. So that was a bit of an adventure to get there, and then we just got to get down to Martis Camp now and hand things back to the 818C, which, goodness, yeah. My engineer pucker factor will feel a lot better when I get off these grades. Okay, so let's bring it back. All right, nice and easy. I'm right at the front platform here. I've got a dump valve. Can protect my shove. I want to ride the platform. I mean, I could ride the cupola, though it is no longer facing the direction where I can easily tell what's going on. So I think I'll wheel ride the platform here. Didn't want my caboose. All right, only doing 6 mile an hour. That's not so bad. And let it roll. And the trick here when using a dump valve as a brake, which I cannot advise other than in case of emergency or video games. The interesting trick is getting the cars to do the braking, because this caboose is pretty light, and the engine's still trying to supply air from the main reservoir if you've got the brake valve and run. So we might have to lap the brake valve. But we'll just feather in a little bit. You hear the air come on. So our brake shoes and brake rigging sitting against the wheel. Engine's still showing 70 because it's trying to feed 70 as hard as it can. And we'll just lap the brake valve real quick, and then let it try and recharge. But that'll set up the heavier cars more evenly and the engine for a little bit. So you can see how this could become a pretty coordinated effort here. Normally, as the engineer, you see the brake pipe go 0, you go to lap anyway, and that helps you do what you need to do. Though as we come down the grade, it is getting less and less. Of course, you could always just use handbrakes too. Did we have that handbrake on the whole time? We might have had that handbrake on the whole time. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, how about we give it a dump? It's a little quick. We don't want to spaghettify the Shay's running gear. Okay, there we go. Coming into the station. Do one more set of lapping it and running it. Do an application from the engine as we get thrown off. It's fine. It's so much train, I'm not used to running it. the engine was still on the grade, and it's a bit of a boat anchor. Now let's go make sure we're not going to go punt the poor 818C. I don't think we're going to, but we should set the Caboose out for him. Not that I'm nearly equipped to do that. I'll just plug it. Why not? No, that's fine. Let's tie the air out here. Cut it out on those couple cars. Open the angle cock. This guy's going to be totally set up, though. Unless we recharged it first. Can we reach the bleed? Yeah, he should be okay to kick. Get him out the way. And he should just roll. Okay, perfect. We recharged the air, and that's why the hose is popped anyway. And we want to be going the other way. Easy on the running gear. Okay. Caboose is in the hole here. We'll set these lumber cars over, and we'll grab the 818C and get out of here. Let's see, slow application into quick app. All right, give it the release. Bring it back. Yeah, the Caboose is gladly just rolling. Let's go make sure our switches are lined up here. And we are lined for... We want to be lined for that so that we can get the 818C back out. And we're lined straight here, which is good. And we'll just try and bring those cars in just nice and easy. So we grab the Shay. Goodness. Okay, well, we recharged that, but we don't have the handbrake turned off on the tender. Okay. I'm running 2 trains at once. I'm sure there's not going to be a single problem with that. We didn't have any issues with it earlier, especially not now that with some of the switches aren't lined. It's all right. And we'll just throw the Johnson bar over and get the 818C aimed the other way. Oh, come on, sweetheart. Don't you quarter slip at me. I know I had the throttle open pretty far, but you don't have to be so mean. All right. Got the independent set up on the Shay. We'll tie it there. That's plenty of clearance. And the 818C is wandering over to the turntable. We'll get it spun. And then we'll get it on the train, get the Caboose, and then we'll be out of here. Let's tie that. Get that. Okay. Let's break the Shay off real quick. With the air released, maybe. There we go. So that won't be causing us any issues. And the 818C, wha-bam! Look at that. I'll give it a little spin. Yoink. And as it spins around, grab the other pole. And we'll get it lined up. And this is one of the things that we're always thinking about. Turntable interactions, always a goofy thing. So that's still not final, but they do work. So, all right. Got the air released on the 818. Let's go get it on the train. Slip off the turntable and do 5 mile an hour on it. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. We're aligned all the way out. We gotta grab that. Poor tired choo-choo. You can hear her injectors are mad, and they're doing the water suction strangeness. She's got quite the air leak, too. Oh, well, we'll get her to the shop. She'll get some attention. Maybe some more modernization one of these days. Okay, coming up to the bridge. We'll hop off here. Let's just give it full Johnson bar madness. Make sure that's open. Well, it's 15 mile an hour. That's fine. How about not? Okay, well, that car's toast. What are you doing, sweetheart? It's like, why did it get pulled to the rear for a second there? Is our air all tied in? Air's all tied in. All right. Oh, I know those cars are heavy. Come on, sweetheart. Come on. Did I leave a handbrake on? I probably left a handbrake on. You gonna quarter slip for me? Show it off. It's so cool. No, you don't feel it. Well, kind of. Of course, the wheel slip sim is tied in with the Steam chest sim, so it does all manner of goofy things when you get to the end of a stroke. So, okay, no brakes there. I mean, these cars are really heavy. But did I have any brakes still tied? That is the question. Did I tie the brake at this end like a good kid? This is what happens when you secure equipment. Is that just still... Oh, okay. You gotta break the Shay off, actually, for realsies. There we go. Oh, you poor out-of-time little thing. Okay. Well, we're gonna get this thing out, grab the caboose, and we're gonna head back to the other parts of the map here. But I want to thank you guys all for watching. I want to thank you for your continued support, and especially to our patrons, your patience these past couple weeks. We were joking for a bit that it was going to be the July 40th devlog, and I think technically it's going to end up being the July 41st or 42nd, depending on, well, I guess 42nd or 43rd. Depending on how that math works out. We had a ton of stuff that hopefully you really appreciated. This feels like a big one for us. Being able to move things around, make some money, get cars loaded, unloaded, have a couple different engines in the level, the amount of optimizations and little things like that are the not sexy things to show that we have done to be able to do this stuff and experience it in this beautiful level that's been created. It was a pretty significant amount of work, and we didn't want to leave you guys with something that wasn't totally right. So we definitely appreciate everyone's patience on that front. It was a ton of work to get done, and one of those ones where there were so many little things that were just little goofy things that was, oh, did we set that up? No, we didn't set that up. Okay, well, hang on. Why doesn't that work? And then you're remembering what you did a year ago or 6 months ago, and software is hell, I think. It's the shortest way that I can really put it. But I know that all of us are really, really thrilled with what we've been able to show off today. The new cars, the donkeys, the new locomotive, the new water tanks. All of this hanging around on the level, the updates to Ponderosa to see so much more of it, the new dev track that's in so that you could have the built-in route. Of course, track laying and all that still to come, of course. But so much stuff has happened to make this video possible. It feels like a big milestone for us, and we hope that you've enjoyed it and that all of the madness has been to your liking. Let me get this air tied in and get this thing on the road. Do I have 70 back here? It's always a check. Okay, there we go. Oh, and I didn't even think. And wheel slip and the locomotive being out of time and all of that stuff. And yeah, I mean, so many little things have gone into this video. You know, we hope you think that it was worth the little extra time in the oven here. And of course, we're going to be working towards getting a video about the customizations and a little bit of the history and that stuff with the Shay coming soon too. As we work through the rest of our development things in this front, so. Alright, sweetheart. Let's see if you can get going. She's working pretty hard. Can you see it? Oh yeah, she's doing the little dance. Little shimmy left and right. That was also a new thing as the engine works, depending on what it's doing and how hard it's trying to pull. They bite in and do the thing, and so much went into all these little things this month. So anyways, guys, we always continue to love and appreciate your guys' support. We're so excited to share more of this stuff, and we hope you've really enjoyed this video. And thank you so much for watching. As always, this will be out the next calendar month on YouTube, so the general public will be seeing it then.